Hello, folks, and welcome back to another edition of Money in Motion. Joined here with Monte. Almost the end of the week here, Thursday, but Nasdaq continues to power along, up about 0.5% today to start the day. But hope you guys are doing well. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are watching this from. But Monty, what's happening?
Not too much. Hope everyone's doing well. What's up to everyone in chat? We got all the usuals, some of your assets. Phoenix, what's going on? Roz, Ryan, how you guys doing? Yeah, I think there's a lot to talk about today. And you said, right, it's almost the end of the week. It feels like Friday, right? This has been a turbulent week, like of price action. There's been more than enough price action for a full week for me. In terms of volatility, news related moves, that sort of thing. It's been a stressful week. So if you've made it this far, good job. The markets are looking like they're set to head back up towards the highs. We'll talk about that. But yeah. And then beyond that, Bitcoin and ETH, where do we go from here? What's the next step? What's the next catalyst? Is it this ETF decision on Friday as big of a deal as everyone thinks? I'm curious to hear your thoughts about that before we even dive into anything, because excuse me, I was watching this morning, another YouTube show, and they were saying that there's a 95% chance that the SEC approves the Bitcoin spot ETF on Friday.
Which program was that?
This was the Wolf of Wall Street's Scott Melker, and he had on the chart guys, who I do like.
The chart guys? I've never heard of them.
They're just technical analysts that
Nice.
I watch every now and then. But they're saying 95% chance it gets approved. And you made a point yesterday.
Are they ETF lawyers? Like, why? What was the reason of 95%?
Yeah, no, they didn't give one. That's the thing. There was no justification for the 95%. And we've talked about how probability.
BlackRock, look at BlackRock's record. It's clearly 95%. Yeah. Anyways,
that's greater than 95%. But we talked about this like last week, right? About how probabilities and people are counting things as like a sure thing. It's a psychological effect having to do with like ergodicity that really kind of plagues not only markets but everyday life as well. Like, think about the last election. Everyone, like, what was it, 98% chance that Hillary was going to win, or the election before this previous one, and then Trump ended up winning. So I don't know. Like, is it going to be one of those scenarios where everyone is banking on this ETF getting approved and then it just gets rejected and we sell off hard? It could very well be the case. Or I think Phoenix makes a great point in chat. The Bitcoin ETF hype could already be priced in, and it might be time to, it might be time to, actually sell some. If that news is baked in, which is definitely a possibility.
It feels like that's the most obvious trade because
right?
there's probably not going to be an approval. So you just short today and, capture the money of all the idiots who thought it was going to be approved. I'm not taking that trade personally. It seems like the most obvious as of now, but then again, I just don't really have enough conviction to put a position on.
Yeah, I'm with you there, especially with the chart looking like this. I mean, when you get a move like that back on the back of like news, it's just tough to make any play with conviction after a move like that. Because now we have like profit taking to account for people that bought when we were down at that 26K level. That could lead us to bleeding out for a little bit longer here. And we need spot buyers to match that profit taking. Right now, we're not seeing that. And it doesn't seem like people are too eager to front run the news this Friday. So I don't know. For me, I think Bitcoin heads back to 26K. I know it was like such a crazy week because we had things like that look like this, you know. But I do this is where it looks like the bet is coming in, is like in the equities sector. Although Coinbase is down today. It was kind of outperforming yesterday a little bit. But I don't know. It's interesting that Mara is not pulling back today alongside Bitcoin. I find that pretty interesting. But I think it will. So I think it will pull back. I think you will get another chance to enter this trade, and eventually we'll see this go up. But for the time being, it's just like, for me, this is a no trade zone.
Yeah, the crypto equities are just frustrating. I think they're gonna just like if equities make new all time highs, that's when like it's game on.
Yeah. Yeah. Phoenix says that he's a Bitcoin maxi and he's willing to bet that Genzo denies and BlackRock's ETF this year and then approves BlackRock's ETF next year. Yeah, I can see that happening. Maybe it is too soon because think about all the BS that's happened this year. Like, there's just been so much negative attention around crypto and so much lack of just accountability, lack of transparency, lack of oversight. Like, this year may not be the year for something as big as a spot ETF to hit the market. Like, there is good reason for the SEC to say no to this. There is good reason. Like, they have a decent argument. That being said,
Do they?
yeah, I think so. I mean, this market is not fully developed. That is clear as day. Like, this last year has been absolutely horrible. Like, what happened with FTX and what happened with Voyager and what's happened with, countless tokens. It's just been this is like this has got to be the worst year I've remembered in crypto in a long time. And then you had the Terra Luna, like all of that, like it was just bad news after bad news and people losing money and losing money. Almost no one made money, it feels um like very very few made money. And um I don't know, I just hope it's different this next time around. And I think the SEC's strongest case would be like, listen, we're
All
not.
that stuff though is the SEC's fault if you think about it.
Yeah,
Like that's not
that's also,
really like a ETF would basically provide safety from all of those other catastrophes. Anyways, I don't want to get bogged down discussing whether or not the SEC should do anything. But anyways, I can jump into some charts if you'd like.
yeah. Just last thing on this, Keith providing some good insight here. Bloomberg's senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas raised it to 75% from 65%. So we'll see. We shall see. I'm not going to try and, like, those odds, like, still, that's still odds like 75%. Like, I'm not trying to gamble. I'm trying to, like, make those are good odds, but like, still, it's just not, for me, not enough to front run this news. But CJ, you did mention that, if it does get approved, we may not have a chance to chase. Are you going to be doing any spot buying or any equity buying today ahead of the ETF decision?
I already did enough yesterday, so no more filling of the bags needed here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm not trying to front run this. If I were, maybe I'd wait until later in the day today and look to buy some coin. I think that would maybe benefit the most from the ETF news if you're looking for pure beta, I think you'd actually see it outperform most altcoins. So that would be the one I'd place my bet on. But for the most part, I'm not trying to front run this news. I think we see a bit of a sell off. I think
I mean,
people,
if the ETF is approved, you have to assume coin is like trades at 100.
yeah, yeah,
So that's the potential upside, regardless of what percent chance it is. It's like 5% chance or 10% chance. In reality, that it actually gets approved. There's still tremendous upside, but
yeah,
and like most people expect it to get denied. So I don't know. We'll see. I think we're gonna get it denied, but it'll be interesting to see if people bid it up after we get an initial sell off after like a denying of the proposal.
yeah. That's also a plausible scenario. Um,
Even making a higher low from where we made that recent bottom is, probably a good buying point. But
yeah, no, I'd agree with you. If we after today put in like a sort of start forming like a reversal formation, um, but the thing is, like, if the news is approved tomorrow, then I expect coin to go like this, like straight up. I don't know if you'll have a lot of time, but maybe set a trigger buy right here above these wicks where we saw a distribution yesterday and the day before. And because if it does run, like CJ said, I expect it to run up to 100 on a positive approval. So um please excuse the crudely drawn lines, but if we do break above this level of about 86.3, then yeah, I mean, there's some significant upside potential, and I think you need to be aware of that. So that's where I would be looking. But like I said, I'm not trying to front run it. I'm more than happy to get in at 86.3 and ride it up to 100. That'd be terrific. Um, and I think that's definitely like a something that could happen. I think that you don't need to try and guess which way the SEC is going to rule. Just be patient and trade reactively. That's how I like to trade.
well said.
But what else do you got today?
Yeah, I'm bringing up.
How's your
Bringing up gold.
sugar and gold?
I closed gold last night, although I might get back in. We'll see. It was a good week, so
Really good
content
week.
to just content to just close it here. 90 basis points. Let's just bag it. Plus, yesterday, people on fast money were getting really bearish on the dollar. I saw some charts of, oh my God, it was so great. This is the chart. So therefore, a breakdown was imminent. That's what I saw. I'm like, all right, it's time to close dollar, or it's time to close gold longs. Same thing. Anyways, next asset I'd like to talk about. I'll probably close sugar today. Honestly, it's just not getting the reaction that I wanted. Smaller trades, not huge deal. But the one that I think that's time that we talked about in the community yesterday was heating oil. This one's an asset that traditionally is a very inverted correlation, or at least throughout the past couple of weeks has had a very inverse relationship with equities. If we've seen equities go higher, energy, specifically heating oil, has gone down a lot. So this has been one of the most crowded positions we've seen. And I'm not even going to pull up the COT chart because we've hinted on it so many times. But we also had a bearish number come in, or excuse me, we had a bullish number in terms of energy crude oil inventories. And when there's less supply than expected, you would expect price to rise and increase based on that lower supply number. But considering that it didn't, that's news failure of yesterday. And I put my stop loss at the top of that candle. So we'll see how this thing goes. It looks pretty heavy so far today, but can always get stopped out. So that's really what I'm looking at. Not a whole lot else.
Could you pull up ZL for me right there? This is and could you put the volume on the chart? This is one trade that I'm in and I've been discussing with the community. But it's been pulling back the last couple of days. I'm in the red on this one. But I haven't given up yet. It hasn't hit my stop loss, which is, right below that wick down there at like 60. So yeah, right there. I really do think that if we start to see some positive price action, that this thing's going to break out hard. Just look at this increase in volume that we've seen since June. Like, it's been just across the board a genuine massive increase in volume. And whenever you see that, it typically leads to, and we did get some nice price action, don't get me wrong, but the volume has been maintained. It's not like the volume fell off a cliff, right? And you can look at like the October contracts or the September contracts. I think the October contracts are probably the best way to get exposure to this right now. That would be ZLU, I believe, 2023.
Sometimes, I mean, yeah, you
Go ahead.
sometimes if you go further out, the contracts become more liquid.
Yeah.
And another thing, yeah. So it always kind of depends. Sometimes the front month will be really liquid as well. But I just like
Right.
trading the back months, so you never have to worry about like closing and rolling them.
Yeah. It depends on what you prefer to do. I think both are viable options. But I do still like this trade, even though it's gone against me the last 2 days. I'm still in it. Still hasn't hit my stop loss. And even if it does hit my stop loss, I might take another shot at it again afterwards. Because we've talked about this, right? Like, you can take a few losses and then as long as your thesis pays off eventually, like, it covers those losses. That's why you manage risk. That's why you keep your stops tight. And yeah, I think this is one that has the possibility of, breaking out and showing some parabolic price action. So I'm maintaining my position for now, despite the fact that it's, pulling back. I still think there's a shot that we break above that $64 level and head up towards $80. So
Yeah, interestingly, I saw someone post about this today.
yeah.
But uranium's been rallying a lot.
Yeah, it's looking strong.
I feel like every time I stop looking at the uranium charts, they just really go a lot higher.
That is actually so true. You like haven't talked about uranium for a month, and in the last month, it's just been ripping. Have you worn your UEC shirt in a month? Maybe never wear it again. That's what caused the breakout.
I think it got a little stained, so it's not wearing it anymore these days. But
CJ doesn't do laundry. He just gets his shirts dirty and he just throws them away. No, I'm kidding. But I did want to mention this, CJ, and this is just pretty interesting. Amazon absolutely crushing it today, up 2.5%. I mean, this thing, everyone had their eyes on Apple because of this gap fill, but it's really having a tough time filling this gap. Kind of, lackluster price action today, underperforming its counterparts in the queues. But Amazon, I mean, this looks really strong. I think that, I think that if we see a breakout above this high here of 143, we could plausibly see this thing run hard all the way back up to plausibly 170. And it doesn't have earnings until about 2 months from now, October 26th. So you have plenty of time until earnings. I think they beat earnings again. They're only increasing their server dominance and Their e-commerce dominance is continuing to grow. It's crazy. And that being said, this chart just looks it looks good to me. It looks like we see continuation and ultimately a breakout. However, the way I'd play it is I'd wait for us to come up here. We get rejected at this level because it is a critical level that was defined back here as well. Get rejected, see a little bit of sell pressure, and then as soon as the market goes risk on, which I think would be marked by the NASDAQ breaking into new all-time highs. As soon as that happens, I could absolutely see Amazon just boom, breaking out of that breakout level that's been holding it back and making a really strong move to the upside really quickly. So I think this is one to have on your radar. It's up 2.5% today, so I'm not going to chase it. But that being said, I think there's some massive potential, given the fact that the NASDAQ and the S&P and ES are nearing, 52-week highs. So when you need to start looking at like the risk on assets and start, taking some risk, because this is a risk on. It's starting to look more and more like a risk on environment.
Month-long rally is ahead of us.
That's the best picture they had of them.
Highs of 4,600. Let's go. I'm ready for it. I mean, we'll see. Who knows, man? I would never really make predictions like that, but I'm down.
They chose the absolute worst picture.
He's like,
he really looks like he's like explaining like alien UFOs or something. Like that's what he looks like in that picture. But he's been spot on. You got to hand it to him in terms of like his prediction about us having a positive week after Jackson Hole. We got that. So he's been spot on. And
Kramer too. Fading Kramer is so 2021, so 2022. Not anymore.
I haven't even been paying attention to Kramer, but he's been trading well.
What? Yeah, wait. I haven't looked at the ETF in a while. Let's bring that up just as we wrap the show up.
Okay.
The Kramer tracker. Hang on.
I'm glad he's doing well. I think it's good for the market.
I mean, he's basically just been long, so the ETF is kind of a reflection of long stocks. So this is the Long Jim Northern Lights Fund. So we open at about 25, trading at 26. Yeah, I mean, obviously lost a lot in the recent pullback in the S&P and NAS, but overall pretty good year for Jimmy.
Good for him. Well, I think that's about all we got for today. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for all the great participation in chat. Really, really appreciate it. You guys are a really awesome and intelligent audience. We appreciate it very much. And if you enjoyed today's episode, definitely check out tradethechain.com. You can get a 14-day free trial, absolutely free. You can head in there, check out the dashboards. First thing I do every morning, see what coins are tracking, see what's hot, see what's not. And also you get access to a community Discord where CJ, myself, and Nick are always in there providing analysis to anyone that needs it. So definitely check that out. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. But that is all we got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you later today for Trading Rebellion. Take care.